Family mode.
Okay, so good afternoon, partners. We're going to go ahead and start the webinar. So we're going to highlight some points with respect to the values in either forming an LLC or a corporation for your micro enterprise or your MLM business. And so we decided to, kind of launch this because we got a lot of calls across the country over the last few weeks as to which vehicle would work best, a LLC, S corporation or C corporation or trust for the kids, and so forth, so on. So we received a lot of those calls. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lino Solis. I'm an attorney and I'm also a marketer and entrepreneur here in the New York area. Um, and what we said was that we wanted to put something out there that would be of value to our partners and give them some ease with respect to which vehicle could help them sort of navigate this process. Just a little background on me. I'm from New York. Um, Attorney here. Went to school in Washington. Came back to New York. I'm a member of the New York Bar, Connecticut Bar. So I received my training here in New York City. I was first exposed to the MLM industry, micro enterprising, when I was 18 years old. I studied under the late great Mr. Bill Britt, who created an amazing company and business over the course of 20, 30 plus years. Actually, more than that, nearly 40 years with one particular company, and then also had the pleasure of training under the leadership of Mr. Dexter Yeager. And while I was in law school, I had the opportunity to train under Mr. Delzino Wilson Debriano, another great in this industry. And then, of course, the tutelage under training under the tutelage of Mr. Barry Donaldson. So I had an opportunity to just be in front of some really great and amazing trainers in this deal. And from day one, I felt that I had a business. When I was initially introduced to this industry, I realized that I had a business, and we all know that it's an amazing profession. So I wanted to put this together to give our partners an opportunity to kind of create a vehicle that could work for them. So let's take a look at some value. So why would you want to incorporate your MLM or your micro enterprise? Obviously, one is to limit your liability, right? You want to create some ease of management. Obviously, tax protection is certainly one of them. The tax laws in the country are built for business owners. Perpetual existence. This really, is an interesting concept because when we talk about forming an entity, now that entity lives outside of us because we're essentially creating a vehicle that can live completely outside of us, and it can be passed on to our family members. Ease of transfer. Uh, the shares can be easily transferred. Parts of the shares can be easily transferred to another individual or another family member. Investors, if you're creating a bigger entity, sort of a startup concept where you're bringing in investors, that may be something that could be housed within any one of these vehicles. So, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of the first one being an LLC? One, advantage is limited liability. Obviously, it limits your liability when you're shrouded under a corporation of sorts. You have different member classes. You have preferred class, and you could have common classes within an LLC structure. You have a pass-through taxation concept, which essentially is not taxed to you. It's not taxed to the corporation. It's taxed to you. So on your regular taxes can be used as a basis to write off your expenses. So you'll get a Schedule C, and then you can just kind of outline everything that you've done with respect to your business. Ease of governance is important. You want to be able to have a vehicle that allows you free flowing governance within the company itself so that you don't have all of these restrictions. So LLC provides that. And of course, formation. That's certainly one that is important to us. How the LLC is formed and the fact that just requires sometimes just filing a certificate, and you can you're on your way. Ownership of additional entities, the LLC, you can do that, which is great. Which is not true for an S corp. You can own other entities with an LLC vehicle, and then obviously again, investor opportunities, um, allows them to place their capital, particularly for startups. Great for family members, friends who are running a company together. LLC is a great, great, great vehicle. And then here you have a certificate of membership, which you would give your partners. LLC disadvantages: filing fees in certain states could be higher than corporate filings. I know that in New York State, you have to have a publishing fee. That's an additional $400 to $500 because you have to publish in a newspaper. So you may want to check your state to see whether there's an additional fee. Um, Also, annual LLC fees in certain states, they may be a sort of just an annual fee. I know the Delaware charges it an annual fee, so you may want to check that. And the LLC cannot go public from that structure. If down the road you're looking at going public, you'll have to convert to either S or C Corp. So just think about that's for your startup guys, your tech guys that are thinking of eventually doing a initial offering at some point. So the LLC is not the structure that you want, but this is, if you have a micro enterprise or you have an MLM company, that it's a great vehicle for that. So let's look at the corporation. So corp advantages. Chances are for small businesses, you form an S corp because C is for larger companies. So for small guys, micro enterprise, you want to C corporation. Excuse me, you want an S corporation. Okay, C is for if you're going to go large and put a lot of shares out there. Both S and C corps can go public by making applicable elections. So if you're thinking down the road, this company's going to go public, you would do an SOC versus LLC. Of course, you have the same limited liability protection. Protects you up into your individual ownership in the company. Um, so you're only liable for your own particular ownership in a company. It doesn't reach you personally, which is great. Some level of flexibility with S corp. There is more flexibility with S corp than C, but an S corp does not have the same level of flexibility as an LLC. But there is some level of flexibility. Pass through taxes with S corp to shareholders. Again, it passes directly to you. The company is not taxed twice. Okay. With a C corp, the C corp is taxed, uh, and then any profits passed to the partners is then also taxed. So disadvantages: only one member class in an S corp, unlike LLCs and Cs that can have common and preferred stock options. In S corp, you only have one member class. Within an S and C corp, your ownership interest is based on your stock interest in the company, while LLC, it can differ amongst members. So in other words, in LLC, you can have preferred, you can have common, etc. Um, um, so you have different member classes. So, and additionally, with LLC, what you can have is you and your partner. Let's say it's you and two partners. You can decide that you may have 10 or 20% interest in the company, but you may share in 50 to 60% of the profits. You can elect to do that in an LLC through your operating agreement, where in an S and a C corp you can't do that. You have whatever interest is in your stock. That's what you have. Limit to 100 shareholders and U.S. citizens and residents only. LLC has no such limitation. Okay, so if you're forming an S corp, it's only for U.S. citizens or residents only. Okay, where an LLC has no such limitation. Okay, and you only have the capacity to have 100 shareholders. So continue on. You have the double taxation within the C corp. So you're quickly realizing that if you're a micro enterprise or startup, you want an S corp. If you're going to go the corp route, or if you don't need the kind of going public concept, then LLC is what you would select, based on what we're seeing so far. You need to maintain formal meetings. So on the disadvantage side, you got to have formal meetings amongst board members, shareholders, annual meeting, and keeping of minutes to prevent piercing the corporate veil. What is a piercing the corporate veil? That's just a legal concept that's come through the ages, where it essentially says that you as an individual have a protection under a corporation, but if you're not following all of the corporate formation rules, then a judge can say, well, you're really not a corporation. You're just John Doe operating under the shroud of a corporation. So we're going to pierce the corporate veil and attack you personally. Attack meaning you're liable to suit. So um, you have to keep very strict formal rules and procedures within the corporation that are typically not required within the LLC structure. So lots more flexibility within the LLC um, process. Ongoing paperwork for S and C corps. You got to file form IRS form 2553 for S corp election. So keep that in mind if you're going to form an S corp. So just high level. If you want to learn more about micro enterprises, go to www.123setyoufree.com and send us a note. This was sponsored by arzuenergy.com and Orion Advisors LLC. Solis at Orion Advisors LLC.com if you want to send us a note. So based on what we've seen, if you're rolling out a micro enterprise, it would seem to me that the LLC is probably the methodology that you want to follow. If you have a startup that you feel that at some point it may go public down the road, or you have a bunch of shareholder partners that are coming in, a lot of investors bringing in capital for your enterprise, then maybe the S corp could be a good vehicle because it has all the formalities that they may want to see, etc. And you're looking at maybe a tech product that could go public down the road, maybe the S corp. Obviously, if you want to get a little more sophisticated, then a C corp is where you want to be. And then I would certainly caution to just make sure you seek the advice of legal counsel at all times. Very, very important. This is a high level sort of cursory review, but I would always caution to seek the personal one to one because there may be other concepts within your entire deal structure that you just want a lawyer to take a high level look at. But if you're just bread and butter, rolling out your micro enterprise, and you want some comfort with respect to a vehicle, then I would simply have an LLC as the vehicle of choice. All right, just some quick notes to send out there to our partners. Thank you so much. This webinar is officially over. Thank you.